In 2011, Frank and his team and Akul and I were climbing Trishul independently of each other. We became good friends and were both unsuccessful in climbing Trishul. We never thought we would go back to Trishul, but this time we made an attempt to climb it together in 2017. It's not easy to film at high altitude when the temperatures are cold, and at a lot of times it's difficult to keep the camera steady. But we made a good attempt here, and I hope you all enjoy the film.
The approach to base camp is spectacular, and Nandagunti looms in the background. You cannot see the Trishul on your right, but its presence can be felt. Well, I think nearly every day while preparing equipment for the load ferries, we would look up towards the western slopes of the Trishul and eagerly discuss the climb and other issues like the weather and the movement and management of the team on the mountain.
If you want to move up in two teams, then everybody cannot get 2 days rest at ABC, or like Frank you said, one team can go from ABC to Camp 2 direct. That is the only way to separate the two teams. Otherwise, we all have to be together and move together to make good the time deadlines.
And then finally, the day arrived to shift to Camp 1. It had snowed the whole night and it was very cold and soggy in the morning. Going that day was really slow. No matter how many times we had gone up and down this route while load ferrying to Camp 1, I always treated this knife edge stretch with a lot of respect. The cooler? Yeah, well, the cooler to Camp 1 with its foreshortening looks deceptively gentle. The soft glowing snow looks easy in the beginning, but steepens into a grind that ends in a nearly 60-degree climb towards its end. From the moment you take your first step on the wet, soggy snow, the true difficulty of the task finally sinks in. Despite 4 days of acclimatization at base camp, our lungs still hadn't fully adapted to altitude, and the movement was slow. A steady pace is required to conserve energy and to develop a rhythm on the mountain.
One of the main issues was the slippery snow on the way up. You place your foot in a place that you absolutely sure is good for you. You just slip down several steps, then have to climb it back up. The worst is when it happens after you take a rest. Then first step that you take it, you slip backwards and then you need to take another rest.
After a really hot grind, we finally managed to reach the top of the coulee for a close and awesome view of Trishul's west face. The walls of the overhanging ice from its upper glaciers was a really awesome sight. From now on, the days started to become very similar to each other. It would be a bright start with the winds slowly dragging in a shroud of clouds, and with the snowfall falling perpetually in trail every day.
The weather was always a good excuse to cozy up with the dining tent and address all issues concerning the climb. Whether weather playing truant, safety was a really major concern.
All right, okay, fine. So the main discussion is on the issue of where we set up the summit camp and where we put camp 2, because camp 2 is also not fixed as yet. So, in my opinion, the three major concerns that I have is first and foremost maximum safety.
Yeah.
That is the foremost thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Summit comes second, safety first. Next is whatever we do, we must do with as much of reserves as possible. It should not happen that we try to achieve something and we have nothing left to be able to handle ourselves, or we make a mistake, or we are unable to think properly or do something properly. Yeah. And the last thing is, should something go wrong, God forbid, we are able to be in a position, because of high camp, we can take recovery action. The lower the high camp, the possibility of doing recovery action, of trying to salvage something that has gone wrong, that will reduce. Okay.
The morning of the day of the move to Camp 2 was bright and sunny. Frank was really happy to know that the air was crisp and cold, and the snow really crunchy beneath our boots. The climb to Camp 2 is over the Roti Glacier. The last time we were here, the entire glacier was ridden with lateral crevices. This time, however, the crevices were covered with solid snow bridges, making the task a little easier. Once again, foreshortening made the climb look deceptively simple, but I could definitely feel the effects of altitude. The clouds punctually showed up to take the edge of the sun, and as the climb got a little steeper, the crevices finally started to show up. One last hard push, and we were at Camp 2. Nandagundi, the entire lower portion of Bronte Glacier, and Bidhatoli spanned across the views stretching from the northwest towards the north. We were there. Camp 2 had been established at 18,500 feet.
I can't wait to do it again.
And when is that?
Tomorrow I think we'll do some. Poor Loic, he had to.
What?
Poor Loic, he had to wait for me the whole way. But we've made it! Finally!
This is Camp 2, our room with a view. The winds had already picked up on Trishul when we made a relaxed start on the first day for road opening above Camp 2. While we all felt strong and were well acclimatized, the next few days saw us working hard on moving equipment and supplies in order to establish a summit camp on the west ridge of Trishul at about 21,500 feet. Above Camp 2, strong winds and omnipresent avalanches streaming off Trishul were the major obstacle. And this task was really daunting in that presence. About 800 feet above Camp 2, the slopes of the west ridge of Trishul rose sharply upwards at an incline of about 60 to 70 degrees. Despite the insistent snowfall every afternoon and evening, these slopes did not hold much snow. Deep blue-green ice shined through to the surface. The ice was very hard. It was difficult to get any purchase with the ice axes and crampons. Sections of the ice would break away, increasing the already difficult task of putting up snow anchors. With Camp 2 far below, Loic made good progress towards the summit camp. In this section, he can be seen approaching the point where the first equipment and rope storage was made. Progress was slow and Lloyd dropped the crampon. But he was lucky to recover it in time. The loss of a crampon at this stage would have jeopardized the entire climb. Yes, one major issue during this portion of the climb was the hard spin drift flowing across the ice, hitting our faces like 1,000 needles in one go. At about 21,500 feet, this really added immensely to our difficulties. And then the weather clamped up for good. The winds picked up and forced us to stay put. We took some well-deserved rest in our tents, sharpened our crampons, prepared to dig in and wait it out. However, Loic and Alon finally decided that the conditions of the weather and the ice weren't good and decided to move down to Camp 1.
Safe journey down.
Thank you.
Yeah, slow and easy. I'll give you a call. Yeah, at about 2 o'clock with Frank, and we'll speak on the walkie-talkie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
See you, man.
Yeah. Good luck. I hope you'll make it to the summit.
Let's see how it goes.
After Loic and Alon descended, nobody was keen to lie about in our tents and to wait for the weather to improve. So another acclimatization climb was carried out, which once again had to be called off after a few hours due to bad weather all over again.
We were to establish 2 camps, Camp 1 and Camp 2, before the summit camp on Trishul. And to save some time, we set up a very high Camp 1, close to the position of Camp 2. Having worked one day at fixing the fixed rope to the summit camp, we have now been stuck for the last 2 days. Yesterday the weather was bad, and we made an attempt to climb up towards summit camp, and the weather turned bad and we had to come back. On the way back we were hit by an avalanche. Luckily it wasn't too bad, mostly dust and some snow, but we were all safe. This morning the weather was fine, but we had some thunderstorms last night and once more this morning, and we are stuck, we are unable to move. and we have to wait and watch and see what happens. It appears like it's going to be a waiting game.
It was a tough call. The days would start bright with the winds picking up and getting really high as the day went by, and reducing just a little bit by the time the clouds swept in and the avalanches started on the slopes. One last attempt was made, and then we finally decided to call off the climb and retreat from the mountain. Cold winds swept off Trishul on our last evening at Camp 2. The mountain looked strangely formidable and very distant. Was the mountain angry with us? That question was soon answered, with Trishul accepting the sun's blessings as it glowed as gold with the setting sun. What a magnificent sight! It really lifted our spirits, and we all went up to sleep that night, satisfied with ourselves. Well, I think we had done our best, and either we weren't ready for the mountain or the mountain wasn't ready for us. Either way, it was time to call off the climb and to commence our descent all the way back to Camp 1 and then further down to base camp. The climb was far from over. The descent from the Kolya was still left and made for an interesting finish off to the entire expedition. Keeping its promise, the clouds had returned to bid us farewell for the mountain. Approaching base camp, it all looked so surreal. The climb was over, and the entire valley looked enchanting. We were sad that the expedition was over, but we had done our best, and the mountain would have to wait. After our last night at camp, we woke up to a bright and yet very cold day and awaited the mules for commencing our return from Trishul. The expedition was finally over.
The conditions were very bad, very bad. We had over 20 days snowfall. We had no forecast. When we had a weather forecast, we can plan something. We couldn't plan something. It was not possible. When we know we have 3 days with snowfall and storm, we climb down and relax. And later we fight for the storm. Here we had so bad conditions. Blue ice. And one problem, we from Europe, we need some time. We couldn't climb after 10 days on blue ice. But an expedition like this is not only to stay on its summit. I found friends, I meet friends, and I'm sure I come back and we try together the next mountain, the next big mountain. I hope so.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay.